I had the opportunity to visit with Sheridan Stokes at the Herb Alpert School of Music at UCLA, where he has served as professor of flute for 37 years. Our discussions focused on our publication, 5 Tangos for Solo Flute, where Sheridan shared his secrets on how to play my tangos, the same tangos we introduced to the NFA back in 1998, and ever since have become a staple literature in the industry. This method book focuses on 5 solo flute tango arrangements from the collection Tango Americano. Sheridan Stokes introduces each tango in the order listed in the publication. For each tango, he isolates a specific performance aspect, then performs that excerpt. We start with La Primavera, a tango reminiscent of spring, combining elements of adagio, ballet, and continental tango.
La Primavera, a beautiful tango by Christopher Caliendo, means spring. It's a piece that is happy, the flowers are blooming, and you want to have these images in your mind when you're playing. It's a tango, so it's got to be very rhythmic, it has to be very melodious, and you have to have little inflections in your sound when you play. You have to be free, but still contained within the rhythm. Imagine the dancers dancing when you play. So here is La Primavera.
The second tango in the method book is Acariciame, or Dearest One, and conveys an intimate and unique relationship between myself and my dear Aunt Teresa Caliendo, from Naples, Italy.
Acariciame by Christopher Caliendo. Beautiful tango that starts with sort of melodic, little cadenza-like section. And I'm going to demonstrate this to you to show you how I would play it and what I suggest you do. The first line here, long bar, says quasi rubato, so you're free to do what you want within the limits of what he's written. Second line very fast, and I use an extra fast tonguing. Trumpet players call it doodle tonguing. And another section here, it's sort of a written out accelerando retard, and so this you can play it the way you want, but make sure it flows and it's even. Now we go to the actual melody in the tango, which emphasizes the after the fourth beat, the accent, very typical tango rhythm.
Por siempre para siempre is the third tango in this publication. This tango adagio is filled with memory, longing, and pathos. Describes an apology to someone dear to me.
Por siempre para siempre by Christopher Caliendo. A beautiful lyrical tango with many different moods in it. And these moods are written out by various kinds of markings like lyrical, soul-searching, tenderly, nostalgic, and even morendo. So when you play it, make sure that it's very lyrical, but at the same time, very rhythmic. And here is Por siempre para siempre.
Sheridan and I have often spoken of how many flutists do not recognize how crucial vibrato is. Sheridan explains the importance of vibrato and demonstrates a variety of styles while playing the melody to Por Siempre Para Siempre.
Vibrato, an interesting subject. Up until recently, it was just assumed you either had it or you didn't, or it was one kind of vibrato you used. But vibrato, used properly, can really enhance the music. You can use very little, you can use none, you can use a lot, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can make it wide, you can make it so narrow you can almost not hear it, but it's still there and gives a shimmer to the sound. So when you play vibrato, be very conscious of it. I'm going to play just a little bit here to show you how you can vary the vibrato when you play.
Gli Amanti Segreti is the fourth tango in this publication and was composed to capture the nonverbal communication between two lovers during a dinner event. Here is what Sheridan has to say about interpreting the melody as if two flutes were playing it, representing the two lovers.
Imagine when you're playing this piece that it's really two flute players, not just one. So the part of the theme is the one player, which would be this, and then the other player, and they go back and forth, so that there are these two lovers embodied in the one flute. So here's the first part of Amanti Segreti. The second section of Amanti Segreti is more lyrical with very even triplets. And when you play triplets, think of them as being just part of the line, da 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 da, rather than subdividing them. There's always a tendency to want to play them a little unevenly when you're subdividing. So just think it's a long sweeping line.
The final tango in this publication is La Milonga, an Argentine peasant dance, bright, up-tempo, and filled with fiery energy. Sheridan talks about the use of glissando and the characteristic accent on the upbeat of beat 2.
Imagine all the accents and the people out in the fields. And there's one little special thing we do in this, and it's a glissando. And on the flute, we just pull the finger right off the key. And you listen for this. It's throughout the piece. I'm going to demonstrate the first two lines of the piece.
Now Sheridan talks about the use of jazz in La Milonga and how to interpret the style.
Bar 9 of La Milonga, a different feel. It's a jazz feel. And when you play this, try to think little beats so it really swings. Da, da, ba, ba, da, 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 ba, ba. And I'll demonstrate that. The accent between beat 2 and beat 3 should be really brought out in exactly the right place. So here's this second part here, starting at bar 9.
first introduced my tangos to the NFA in 1998 with flutist Sheridan Stokes, as they were originally composed and featured on our recording Topolino. Now, over 10 years later, he describes the various method books on the market, what makes this book special and unique, the values provided the flutist to learn the tango, and the importance of markings.
There are many flute methods on the market, and each one usually talks about a specific thing. There's some that deal with modern music, some that deal with jazz. In the case of my method, the illustrated method, I started off illustrating what I was doing. I saw a brilliant method on how to sail boats with illustrations, and I decided that I would copy that and make a flute method, and it's turned out very well. I did a book on special effects, and that is specifically for special effects, and it's done in a doable way so that flute players, even beginners, can do it. Now, in this case, we're having a book on how to play tangos, and this particular book shows you the little distinctive characteristics of playing tangos. And people at any age can play a tango. A tango is not necessarily anything difficult, but you want to have the feel of the tango. You want to know what it's supposed to sound like, and the only way you're going to know that is to listen to tangos and see them, see the dancers dancing, because when you play, you want to have sort of a visual image of what you're doing. Tangos are very rhythmic, and they have different kinds of rhythms, and so learn to listen, and then exaggerate all the markings. And in the tangos that Christopher Caliendo wrote, he put in many markings, and those markings are in there for a reason. You want to follow them very, very carefully, but at the same time go to the next step and be free and do what you want within a rhythmic context.
Sheridan Stokes has won the Most Valuable Player Award from the National Academy of Performing Arts and Sciences numerous times. He recorded the original Mission Impossible theme for composer Lalo Schifrin, and John Williams' Flute Concerto was especially written for him.